You know, it would be easy if I just made videos pointing out other people's flaws, flaws in action, flaws in argument, and I think a lot of people in the YouTube community make a name for themselves doing that. Um, I'm not really interested in that. I call them as I see them. I call bad when I see bad. I call good when I see good as well. And I want to shoot a video out to James because he's capturing something in his recent video that I really appreciate. The interesting thing about James is that he has artistic tendencies that would lean him towards theistic tendencies, that would lean him towards theistic ideas, and not to imply that I think he is a closet theist. I certainly think he's being genuine. He calls himself an atheist. However, he does a lot of things that I resonate with, that I identify with, and I am interested, and I'm continually interested in what he has to say when it's obvious that he put some thought into it. And in this last video, he comes on, he's all sort of disheveled. He's got a little bit of rings around the eyes, his hair's disheveled and whatever, and has 4 pages of script. It's obvious that he committed himself to rigorous thinking, and that's cool. That's cool. The problem I did have with it is something characteristic of James's philosophy, is that he likes to make things complicated, and I don't think it's necessary. He gives us this treatment of the word, or the question rather, the question of why, and he opens it with a very complicated treatment, and I don't think it's necessarily as complicated as he makes it seem. He talks about nuances. He talks about intention. He talks about communicative modes. He talks about, all these different things that I think are just muddling the issue. And but in the end, I don't think it's any discredit to the conclusions that he was drawing. But to start off, I want to simply say that the question why is merely an appeal, as it seems to me anyway, is merely an appeal to disclose the necessary inferences that are associated with a claim. To say I am Jonathan and to ask then why is to make an appeal for the set of inferences necessary to arrive at the conclusion that I am in fact Jonathan. This topic was brought up, one can assume, because James has, and we've all run into this question in the past, has been asked why, as an atheist, James, does there exist something rather than nothing? In other words, why does anything exist at all? And what James was wrestling with was to try to articulate why that is such a difficult question. Why is it a difficult question? What, that is to say, what are the necessary inferences that we have to follow in order to arrive at the conclusion that that is a difficult question to answer? Well, it has everything to do with the fact that when you're asking why, you are appealing for the disclosure of an inference, a system of inferences, meaning that you're implying an answer that necessitates something existing. When you ask the question, why does anything exist at all, you are implying that something exists before existence itself. It doesn't follow. Now, James correctly points out that this is no advantage to the theist, nor is it any advantage, I would add, for the atheist to ask the theist, why does something exist rather than nothing? In both situations, what you're going to have is either the theist, the unwitting theist, will say the reason why is because God. Because being an interesting word in the English language, because it is rooted in the word cause, and it does imply that in its meaning. But at the same time, if you were to ask an atheist this, why does the universe exist? They're going to give you an equally amorphous concept, not God in this case, but nature. And they're going to say, well, nature always existed, and that's what existed without existing for existence to exist. It's really quite a cafoodle, and that is a technical term. It's not helpful or useful to any of us, anyone, to ask, well, why does something exist rather than nothing? Or why does anything exist at all? Because simply the question is probing for an answer that assumes that something is always there existing. The theist subconsciously says, behold, that's God. But you could just as easily say that, behold, that's nature. But both of those situations still are not really answering the question, because you are assuming something exists in order to explain why there is existence at all. It's for that reason why, that I really, when this kind of question is asked, I think it is philosophically justified to sort of, I don't know, sit back, fold your hands, and say, I don't know. Or fuck, whichever is your preference.